Welcome to the Shepherd Podcast. I'm your host. I'm Pastor Chris. The Shepherd Podcast is a chance to help you get to know some people here at Shepherd of the Hills. Our church, school, and child care is filled with many wonderful people, and I'd like for you to become more familiar with them. And so today I'm very excited to welcome my guest. He's someone that many of you may know at Shepherd, and his name is Jerry Albert. Jerry, welcome to the podcast.
Well, Pastor Chris, thank you for having me here. It's a real privilege to be able to tell people about some of the things I've had to do in my life, which is a long time, okay?
How long?
Well, this year in August, if I make it to August the 26th, it'll be 91 years.
91, that's really something. Fantastic.
Now, I used to think when I was 65 and 70 and 75, I said, man, am I living a long time? But you get to be this age, and you're not sure you want to go any further.
Well,
yeah, because there's so many issues that come up with health.
yeah.
Although God has given me an excellent body, where I still am not full of pain, but you definitely know that you're getting older, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Now, at the beginning, I'd like to note that we have a decoration here. Can you explain your decoration?
I said, you know what? I want everybody to know that I graduated. I did graduate from Texas A&M College, class of 1952.
All right.
And I'm proud of that. And as the last 5 to 7 years have gone by, I've lost a lot of class of 52 students that I went to school with.
Yeah.
And all I have is memories, from those. But it's been a great school. And when I attended school there was only 9,000 students attending. No girls, no women. You had to be in the Corps. That means you wore a uniform.
Everybody was in the Corps.
Everybody was in the Corps. And it was a good thing because everything was organized. And when you first start as a freshman, you're at the bottom of the totem pole. Mm-hmm. And your sophomore year, you take a step up. But you've got upperclassmen that they make sure that you're doing what they want you to do. All right. And if you don't do it, they've got a board about this long with holes in it and about that wide. And they'll invite you up to their particular place of where they reside, and for some reason or other, they say, bend over.
Wow.
And then they give you a SWAT or 2 or 3, and you don't forget those,
Now, I have to ask, did that ever happen to you?
Yes, it did.
More than once?
More than once, Now, I didn't do anything wrong, but they apparently thought I didn't do what I should have done.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a great school, and I'm thankful I had the opportunity to go there. My dad I wouldn't have gone if he hadn't paid for it. Mm. But in today's world, 9,000 students back in 1948 when I started. Uh-huh. In fact, that's right after World War II.
Right.
And the only place they could accommodate my class, the class of 52, was out at Bryan Air Force Base. That's where they took the men that were in the Air Force during World War II. That's where they housed them. Mm-hmm. It was barracks buildings, still had black tar paper all around it. On the inside, we had, for heat, oil-burning pot-bellied stoves with 55-gallon drum outside. And when the first year I was up there, we had snow at College Station, and it was cold. But it was, with the inside oil-burning furnaces, we stayed warm enough. no air conditioning at all during the summer.
Ooh.
But that was my freshman year at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Now, that's changed a lot, as you know.
Yeah.
But today, instead of 9,000 students, they've got 87,000 students attending A&M.
Now that's online as well as residential?
It could be.
That's
I'm
a
not
lot.
100% sure.
Wow, that's a lot.
But we've got campuses in Galveston
Uh-huh.
and 2 or 3 other places.
Wow.
And so you definitely can get a wide range of things that you want to be involved in if you want to go to school and if you could afford it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, let's go back a little bit before A&M and lifelong San Antonio resident.
Absolutely.
So can you tell us a little bit about growing up in San Antonio?
I can. You know, I still remember my years going to elementary school. We lived on East Houston Street, about 3 blocks west. No, yeah, towards downtown from where the Coliseum is. While we lived there on East Houston Street, I used to go down the street, and our elementary school was just about a block or 2 from the Freeman Coliseum,
Uh-huh.
where they used to hold and still do livestock show, stock and rodeo show.
Right.
They moved that to the new facilities, but they still do some stuff over there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where it was 3 blocks from our house, and I used to walk to school. And at that time, I had what we used to call hay fever. My nose would stop up. And I remember several different times going to school. I got there, but during the day, my nose would stop up, and I couldn't breathe. It scared the daylights out of me. So several times, I just got up from where I was at school and walked home.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, from there, Emerson Junior High School was a different location. From there, Brackenridge High School here in San Antonio, which is still there.
Yeah.
And Brackenridge, I ran track and participated not in football or basketball, but running track.
Yeah.
Had a couple of friends that I'm still friends with. One lives in Austin. His name is Aubrey Howe. He lost his wife, I think, about 5 years ago. And then the other guy is a guy by the name of Jack Arnold, who lives up in Fredericksburg. Jack, when he graduated from college, he went and was a school superintendent up in Dallas. But the 3 of us are still living.
Oh.
And Jack is the only one that has his wife still with him. So after that, you know, I was not sure I wanted to go to college, but I had an uncle, A.C. Dullig. I looked up to him, and great good-looking guy, went through World War II. And so I think he encouraged me to go ahead and enroll at Texas A&M. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I struggled through college. It was very difficult, but I finally got my degree.
Yeah.
And after you get through Texas A&M at that particular time, you had to go into one of the branches of the service.
Right.
You could go into the Air Force. I went into the Army and elected to do that. So the first place I went after I graduated was Fort Bliss, Texas. And after that, serving there for about, I think it was a couple of 2 or 3 months, I got orders to go over to Korea. And our son had just been born. He was learning how to walk and crawl and do different things when you're, 18 months old.
Yeah.
But I'm over there, and I've spent 14 months in Korea. And that was a different thing.
Yeah.
When I got to Incheon, which is the southern part of Korea, and got off the ship, we went into that little town of Incheon. It was all shot up, just totally destroyed. Fortunately, I got there after the armistice was signed. So I didn't get to see any shooting or didn't get shot at.
That's good.
At that time, Shirley and I had been married about a year and a half, 2 years. We had our first child, which was Steve, and now he's 68 years old. I can't believe that, but he is. And my daughter, who lives with me, Sharon, she just had her 65th birthday, March the 31st. So anyway, but back to the story about Korea. You get off the ship and you go in where you're supposed to go. And my first place to spend the night was a concrete bunker.
Okay.
And on top of the concrete bunker was sandbags and a .50 caliber machine gun. Mm. And then we had radio equipment in there. And I was a brand new second lieutenant, see. So yeah. You don't know anything coming out of school as a second lieutenant. When you get over there, yeah. You depend upon the sergeants. It's been in the Army a while.
Okay.
And thank goodness for them. But I do have memories of sleeping in that particular little, about 10-foot by 10-foot space, and watching in the middle of the night some of the Korean kids. You look out and you could see them working on top of a 2.5 ton, a 1.5 ton truck, a deuce and a half, or whatever they called it back then. And they would throw things off the truck, retrieve it later. But that different things. I did become a first lieutenant while I was over there, and I transferred from anti-aircraft artillery into an engineering group headquarters, and a different experience where. At group headquarters, as a first lieutenant, all you have to do there is, I was assigned the task of defending or prosecuting the guys that did things wrong when they were in the service. Mm. And I won some and I lost some of the cases. Mm. Those are the things I remember over in Korea.
Yeah, wow. Wow.
Went to the colonel. I said, Colonel, I don't know anything about the law, the justice system in the Army. He said, well, here's the book. Take it home and start reading it, and because you're going to be with a captain at this particular time. You're the assistant to the I'm going to say prosecutor or the defense. Uh-huh. Then you graduate to being a defender of a particular individual that's probably already guilty anyway.
So you were like a lawyer?
Yeah, yeah. At group headquarters, that's what I did. Huh. And I remember very vividly on one, I think it was a Sunday, pretty clear skies, and the Korean pilots would fly the airplanes. And this one particular day, I've got this one guy way up there in the sky, and he was going to go way up high and roll like this and come down and keep flying. He didn't keep flying. He plowed into the rice field and, it killed him. I watched that. So anyway, that was my experience there after college. Mm. Okay, got another question?
So you came back. I want to get to the point where we talk about your business. So let's go ahead and go there. I don't know if that's the next thing that happened, but that's something I was very interested in. Was you were a business owner for many years. Can you tell us the story of how your business got going?
Well, when I got back from overseas, I went to work for my dad. It was John A. Albert Plumbing Company. We had Dad had the ability, only with an 8th grade education, to become a master plumber, and started his business back in 1930 when I was born. And with my mom's help, big help, he was able to grow that business, and to the point where he had enough money to go out and buy a lot on Broadway here in San Antonio, and built a beautiful building, and it backed up to Avenue B, which was running right by Brackenridge Park Golf Course.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so business kept on growing. But after my dad and my mom was a big part of this, we started the business in our home at 2502 East Houston Street.
Okay.
Where she would answer the phone and she would keep the books and that kind of thing, and he would be doing the plumbing. Then he had enough money to hire somebody and hired a second person, third person, and that's the way he's got his start. They had enough money to buy this lot, enough money to build the building, and just a great business in San Antonio, Texas, and everybody that did business with him respected him, and he respected them. We got to the point where the business expanded, and it was just plumbing only when he started, but he incorporated an air conditioning department.
Okay.
And I eventually wound up running that. I used to do all the estimating. First of all, you get up in the morning about 5, and you got a plan to work on. So it was an effort to put that business together. I did. Finally got hired some great people to run it. And all I did was overlook and oversee what they did. But many, many times, God was involved in a lot of decisions that I made.
Yeah.
Okay? He really was there for me, and I knew that. We used to hold meetings with the men in a room in a building that I bought over off of Broadway. And many times we would start the meeting with prayer. I would lead the prayer, and that's the way it was going to be. Okay? And usually things turned out pretty much the way I would want them to turn out.
Okay.
Sometimes they did not, But anyway, that's as a business owner, it's your responsibility to get the business.
Yeah.
Create the opportunity for somebody to do business with you.
Yeah.
And in that length of time, we did a lot of business for the Conservation Society. We worked on houses down in the King William area.
Oh, okay.
We, and I'm talking about my dad and I separated. We're in the same building. They're doing plumbing work, he and my brother, and I'm doing air conditioning work. So I've got a sheet metal shop in the back, and that was when the air conditioning industry, introduced fiberglass ductboard. You ever heard of fiberglass ductboard? It was a new technique. Instead of using metal, round metal pipe for ductwork going through the attic, they came out with this product. They came out with 4 by 10 foot sheets in a method of grooving the fiberglass, folding it up, stapling it, and putting tape on it. And it was less expensive than the metal at that time. They introduced it. So here in town, we were one of the first companies to use that particular method of distributing air throughout a space.
Okay.
Got that? But yeah, it's challenging to pay the bills. It's challenging to make sure that the people are doing the kind of job that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, I worked through it. a lot of work, just like you. You're in business for yourself, and you don't. It's not a 8-hour day. It's longer than an 8-hour day that you put in, because then you have to look at the profit and loss statement and see what you did this past month. See,
How do you think your employees would have described you as a boss?
Real well. Yeah, I got along with all of them. Yeah. We had a service department where we went out and serviced the air conditioning unit, and we had an installation department. And I came up with, all of the necessary job descriptions for each particular person, and got through that.
Yeah, you took it and ran with it. I want to pick up on a couple things you said that indicated the place of faith in the business, and I'd like to explore that in your life. You mentioned you started your meetings with prayer, and you also said that God was a part of the decisions that you made, a lot of big decisions. Can you tell me a little bit more about your faith journey, how your faith has been a part of your life, both in terms of running your business, but dealing with challenges in life? How has your faith helped you in your life?
Without it, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Okay. No, early on, I went to church at Grace Lutheran Church downtown.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to, when I was a kid, after I was born in 1930, I was baptized at Grace Lutheran. I was confirmed at Grace Lutheran. And went to catechism at Grace Lutheran, and had the opportunity to grow up there doing things. When you get a bit older, you get involved in the process of the church council. I was a council member, then became the president of the congregation at one point in time. And all of that, I think, kind of set the stage for what I did later in life. And God has been a big part of my life the whole time there. Yeah. I've been around. So today, I have a daughter that lives with me. She just turned 65. I told you that. But you talk about a person that loves Jesus, loves God. She does. She's always praying. And so we have a good relationship. She does her thing, and I do my thing at home.
Yeah.
But God and Jesus Christ has been a very important part of my whole life. It was a good part of Shirley's life, too, when we were married. Married 61 and a half years before I lost her. You know that.
Yeah.
And do I miss her? Yeah, I do.
Can you tell me a little more about Shirley? For those who did not know Shirley, would you tell us a little bit about her?
Didn't know her in high school, but I met her when I was in college.
Okay.
I went back home to high school to do a dance and attended this particular event, and I met her in high school, and I was fond of her. Okay, what happens, if that's the right person. So I asked her out for a date. Yeah, we did that, and over a period of time, I got to know her family, and then we went together real seriously and decided to get married December the 29th. Don't ask me the year.
It's okay. Not a quiz.
Anyway, I'm thankful for that period of my life that I had the opportunity to be with her.
Yeah. 61 years, that's a long time.
61 and a half years.
61 and a half years.
Yeah. Yeah, and so here I am now at my age, and I'm saying, God, why do you have me around? And your message this past Sunday, as you know, Alice Clement, you don't know this, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but Alice Clement was the one that got me involved in Bible study.
Okay.
And I enjoyed my time bringing people together.
Yeah.
To study the Bible. And golly, I figured how long ago. It's been at least 20 years, a long time ago.
I think last thing I want to ask about is just what do you enjoy doing for fun besides being involved in your church? Around the house, what do you like to do that you enjoy?
Before I got as old as I am, I used to enjoy outdoors, doing yard work,
Yeah.
cutting grass, being creative and creating different areas of what I think would be pretty in the yard.
Yeah, you're known for having a beautiful yard.
I know it's a big yard.
Yeah.
And I was out there in it this morning because God sent all that cold weather, and I lost a lot of foliage.
Right, yeah.
And so I bought me a electric chainsaw about 2 weeks ago, and I was out there sitting on a chair cutting
Yeah.
these limbs off the dead plants. Got them all off of there, just threw them out on the yard. Now I'm going to try to find somebody to pick it up.
Yeah.
But the other thing, I've enjoyed golf.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
used to go fishing a lot. I used to go hunting a lot during hunting season. My dad taught me how to hunt. My brother is a big fisherman, and we used to go down to the coast, and I'm standing in the water here, knee deep in water. He's standing from where you're sitting.
Mm-hmm.
He's catching fish, and I'm not. See, so. But anyway, yeah, he's a good fisherman. He likes the bass fish. So that was some of the fun things I did.
Yeah.
And when Shirley was living, she was part of the Conservation Society here in San Antonio.
Okay.
She had me active and doing all kinds of stuff. And because of that, I had a lot of customers that were part of the Conservation Society.
Mm-hmm.
And had opportunities to be down in some historic homes in that part of San Antonio.
Neat. It's been a joy. It's been a lot of fun. You come from a long line of businessmen, I'm realizing.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear about your business and how you carried on that tradition that was in your family, and then how you brought your faith into it. So I know there's more we could talk about. We've covered a lot of ground, and I want to thank you for that, Jerry. It's really been a great experience to have this conversation with you today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to do it, Pastor Chris, and I'm thankful that you're here at Shepherd of the Hills Lutheran Church.
Thank you. Jerry, thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful conversation. And thank you all for watching and listening. I know you've enjoyed getting to know Jerry better, and if you see him at church, you'll have to tell him hi and greet him in person. Until next time, may the Lord bless you with health and safety and great joy. The peace of the Lord be with you today.